Yeah, so firstly I'll go to the editing workspace first of all. Now the three basic tools that we used yesterday were the snap tool, the razor tool, and the selection tool. So the snap tool, basically what it does is, suppose if I want to move this video clip in the timeline. Now what the snap tool does is it snaps the front or the back of the video to the front or back of any other video clip in order to like minimize our error. So basically if I want to like put this part at the ending of this part, suppose that when this video clip ends, I want this video clip to begin from there. So I'll click on this video clip, keeping in mind that my snap tool is activated. And how to check if it is activated, this magnet icon should be blue in color. If I press S, it's gray and the snap tool is not activated. In that case, this video clip, it will glide smoothly over the timeline anywhere. So if I press S, now the tool is activated. You can see it is blue in color. I'll drag it and it snaps into position. Now we'll go to the cut tool. So what the cut tool does is, basically if I don't want this entire video clip, I can cut some part of it which I do not want. So suppose I want the video to start from here. So I'll just cut over here. I'll press C to activate the cut tool. It's actually called the razor tool. So I'll press C to activate the tool. And in the timeline, I'll zoom in a little bit. Alt plus scroll up gives us a zoom in effect. So yeah, and I'll click on top of the point where I want to perform the cut. And in this case, the cut has been made over here. I'll just delete the previous part. I'll drag it back. So now the video starts from where I wanted it to be. And now the selection tool is basically this one, the topmost in the toolbox. So the selection tool is activated by pressing V, and as soon as you press V, this icon becomes blue. The selection tools helps you to grab and like change the position of any item on the timeline. So I'll click on this, hold, and then I'll drag it back down. So the selection tools helps us in all that. Now talking about the different windows. So this particular one, which is highlighted in blue right now, is the timeline where all the magic happens, where we perform all the tasks. This over here is the import section. If I want to import any video, I'll just double click on this and the file manager opens. I can search for any video and I can like if I want to open this, I'll click on this and I'll press open. The other way to do it is that basically if I want to bring any video from here, suppose if I want to bring this particular video, I'll just click on it, hold, and drag it to Premiere Pro, release it on top of the import media section, and the video has been imported. Now this particular monitor is actually the source monitor or the display window where we can see the video that we want to put in the timeline. So suppose if I want to watch this suppose if I want to see this particular video, I'll double click on this and it opens on the preview window on the source monitor. This one is the preview window. The one in the blue right now is the source monitor. So that, and this is the preview window. So basically whatever editing we do in the timeline, that comes in this particular part in the preview window. Now we'll be starting with today's session. First we'll do that part where someone asked if we increase the speed of the audio, it becomes a little shrill. So can we try to correct it? So yeah, we'll try that out first. So suppose if this is the song right now. I hope I'm sharing the audio. Yeah. So I'll play this audio file for you once. Now I'll increase the speed. So I'll go to speed and duration and I'll make it 120%. Now in this case, the audio will become a little bit shrill. Now we can try to fix it. So for that we can go to effects. And here we'll search for pitch shifter. So if I search pitch, it gives us two options: pitch shifted or obsolete. That is actually a previous version which we don't need to use now. Then there is pitch shifter. We'll just click and drag it on top of the file, on top of the audio clip in the timeline. Now as soon as we do that, in the effect controls, the pitch shifter effect comes. And we have multiple options over here. Right now we just need to edit the custom setup. So I'll click on edit over here. And the semitones and scents are actually parts of the audio clip. So I'll just like reduce the semitones a bit. I'll make it -3, and as soon as I do that, the audio file will become a little bit deeper. I'll try to do that a little bit more. I'll make it -5, and now if I play the audio, I said yesterday, we can't like try to perfect it because obviously Adobe Premiere Pro isn't an audio editing software. It's actually a video editing software. So we get a lot of audio effects, but we can't perfect this particular thing. I'll just undo that. Yeah, so the speed is 100 now. Okay, so now we'll be moving to transitions today. So first of all, I'll tell you a manual way to perform a transition. It is a little bit complex, but you can use this multiple times. So basically, if this is the video clip, I want it to start fading at the end, and basically it starts fading where the video clip and beneath it starts. So basically at this particular point, the above video starts to fade, and by reaching this point, it becomes the opacity of the above clip becomes 0. So for that, I'll click on this video and I'll go to Effect Controls on top, and I'll scroll down. So we have opacity over here, and there is a blue timer which is on, which actually means that at this particular time the opacity is 100. So I'll just click on this, which is actually an add or remove keyframe button. I'll just click on that. It adds a keyframe telling me that in this particular video clip, at this particular time, the opacity is 100. Now I'll go a little bit ahead. I'll just zoom in a little bit. Now at this particular time, I'll go more forward in the timeline. So I've come over here on the timeline. Now I'll make the opacity 0. So as soon as I make the opacity 0, you can see that the video that was beneath it is now, like, we can see that on the preview window. I'll click on this keyframe and I'll drag it to the end. Now what it does is basically this keyframe had 100 opacity and the second keyframe had the opacity 0. So in between this duration, if you look closely over here, I'll play now. It will drop the opacity from 100 to 0. So if I play this now, you can see that the dissolving actually happened really smooth. This is called this is a transition. This is a made up transition in Adobe Premiere Pro. It's called cross dissolve. So it's called dissolve. So I'll remove these keyframes for now. I'll select them and I'll press backspace. So yeah, the keyframes have been removed. Now the other way to do it, and the easier way to do it, is I told you the long way first so that I can explain it to you that how this particular transition works. Now I'll go to the effects workspace again. I'll remove this search. Now in this, the last folder is video transitions. I'll open that, and there are a lot of transitions. Now I can't obviously explain all the transitions today, so I want you guys to try it out on their own, but I'll tell you how to use a transition. So in the dissolve folder, I'll open this. There are a lot of dissolves, among which there is cross dissolve. So I'll just reduce the length of this clip and I'll bring it back down. Now basically I want the transition to happen over here on the cut in between the two video clips. So I'll click on cross dissolve and I'll hold it and drag it on top of this particular part at the middle. So now cross dissolve is happening over here, and what cross dissolve does is basically when cross dissolve starts at this particular point, it will start to reduce the opacity of the first video from 100, and it will start to increase the opacity of the second video simultaneously. So now if I play the video, it happens really smooth. Now you can make more edits to it. Suppose if you double click on cross dissolve, so it gives you a duration, so that using this you can set how long you want the effect to happen. So right now it's just 14 actually means 14 frames. I can increase that and I can set it to 30 frames actually means 1 second. It will automatically reduce it when it just does it. So yeah, now if I play it, it happens a little bit slower. I can make it even more longer. I'll go to this part, I'll backspace and press 1. So now the duration of the transition is 1 second and 28 frames. That is like almost 2 seconds. So you see that the length of this cross dissolve bar has also increased. I'll play it now. Now the dissolve happens really smooth. And there is one more setting that we can do with this transition only. If I single click on it, I can actually edit the effects of this cross dissolve, and basically the duration comes here, and then there is a tool called alignment. So basically I can align this transition according to the cut that is between the two video clips. I can do it at the end of the cut. So basically, I'm sorry, yeah. So basically now the transition starts over here. As I said, at the starting of the cross dissolve transition, it will start to reduce the opacity of the first video and increase the opacity of the second video. Now I can again click on it and I can select start at cut. So basically the transition starts at this particular cut. Now if I play it, now if you can see, there are these black bars coming after half of this dissolve. So what happens is basically, what's happening over here is that this particular video clip which is before, now when the cross dissolve starts, the opacity of this video starts to reduce. But if I extend it, the video is only this long. So after that, if the length of the cross dissolve is more than that, then it will show those black bars like this. And after that, basically after this particular point, it will still like reduce the opacity, but the last frame will be shown. The video will stop at this particular frame. So if you can see, in this duration, the dog is actually still because the video has stopped over here. But before that, the dog is moving. Now dissolve is actually a really slow and soothing transition. There are multiple transitions that are actually really fast, such as if we go in the zoom, there is a cross zoom. So I can bring that up. I'll make this 1 second long. So what this zoom transition does is basically, again someone asked, so this becomes red because the zoom transition is a bit of a heavy transition. So what the zoom transition does is, as soon as it starts, it will zoom into one clip, and then suddenly it will change the clip and start zooming out of the second clip. Now you can perform changes into this transition as well. If I click on this, it gives us these weird boxes with circles inside of them. So what do these mean? These actually give you points where you want to zoom into the video. Suppose if in this video I do not want to zoom onto the face of the dog, I want to zoom somewhere over here on the side. So if I click on this cross zoom and I just select the circle, I put it to the side over here. So now it will zoom somewhere over here. And suppose in this video I want to zoom out from, suppose somewhere over here. So I'll click on zoom and I'll drag that circle to the side. Now if we watch the transition, it is not zooming into the center, but it is zooming into the side and then zooming out from the side only, where we've set those points. So if I come to this particular point on the timeline, I click on the transition and I change this. So you can see how I'm traveling, and I can set the point wherever I want to zoom like this. I'll remove this transition. So basically this is how transitions function. You can edit a lot in each individual transition. So for this particular thing, I want all of you to like explore on your own, like try out all these transitions on your own, because there are a lot of transitions. If I open them, there are these many types of wipes. There are these many types of VR like immersive video transitions. So, and I introduce the zoom transition over here. So I'll increase the time for this to 29 frames. Now I'll zoom out a little bit, and if I want that zooming into the dog video happens fast, but zooming out of the next video clip happens slow. So I can click on the cross zoom and I can drag it in front. I can click and hold and drag it in front a little bit. So now the zooming onto the dog space will happen fast because it has lesser time to zoom into the dog space, but it has more time to zoom out of the next video clip. So that zoom out happens slow. I'll just, because it's red, I'll just render it for you guys once. I'll go to sequence and press render into out. So now because like even the time duration of this transition is really small, so it wasn't that evident from the video that the dog clip zoom in happened fast and that happens slow. But okay, I'll clear this now. So for any transition, actually to perform any change, I'll go to the cross zoom, I'll bring it on top of this clip, I'll click on this once, and in the effect controls now I get the option to like select where I want to zoom in and zoom out. So this is the first video clip and this is the second video clip over here. This one is the first video clip, so A is the first video clip, and if I want to like if I don't want to zoom onto the nose, I want to zoom onto the eye of the dog, I'll just click on this circle. I know the eye is above, so I'll just drag it a bit above. Yeah, so now I'm actually zooming into the eye of the dog. I'll show you guys frame by frame. I'll move ahead frame by frame. So now it is not zooming into the center of the video clip, but it is actually zooming into the eye. I did not place the circle perfectly, so it goes a little bit above the eye, and now it zooms out of that. Don't worry about these four like boxes. This happens so fast that you won't notice that. So I'll just render this for you once. So it happens really fast because this particular zoom transition is an energetic transition. It is not as slow and smooth. So basically all the transitions are used at particular points at particular places. Okay, so now I've imported another music file over here. I'll just, I hope my audio is sharing. Yeah, I'll just play it once for you guys. Here we go. I'll just press O over here. I don't want, I'll just bring it a little bit ahead and I'll press O over here to set an out point. I want this audio to start after this. So I'll bring it down, I'll place it over here. There's a little bit of gap in the starting, so I'll clear that. Now, if I play it like that, this is actually quite abrupt. Now I want this to happen smoothly. So again, I can go to the audio transitions folder and go inside Crossfade. We only have three audio transitions in Premiere Pro. So one of them is constant power. Now constant power might seem very like you might not understand what it does from the name. So basically what dissolve does for videos, it decreases the opacity of the first video and increases the opacity of the second video. Similarly, constant power, it reduces the volume of the first audio file and increases the volume of the second audio file. So if I place it over here, so what it does is basically this is the first audio file. When constant power the transition starts, it will start to like reduce the volume of the first audio file, and at the same time it will start to increase the volume of the second audio file. So now if I play, okay, it's already 29. Okay, I'll just play it for you guys once now. This is happening a bit more smoother now. Now if I bring it down, so basically you can see that over here there is already no music at the beginning, so that's why even if we increase the volume from this point, we won't hear anything. I'll just perform a cut over here, and now I'll place it over here. Now I'll bring the constant power transition and I'll increase the time a little bit, make this one, so 1 second and 29 frame. I press OK. So the transition is happening for 2 seconds. Now it is happening a lot more smoother. So this is actually the only transition. Constant power is like the only transition. Then constant gain and exponential fade are actually other two transitions. We'll use them like this. Basically what happens in exponential fade is that if we put it at the end of a video clip, it will start to decrease the volume exponentially. So if I play it, so it actually starts to reduce the volume exponentially. And if we use constant gain, so basically it will reduce the gain exponentially. Sorry, not exponentially, constant. So basically the decrease in volume in constant gain is actually constant, it is a linear line, but in exponential fade it is actually like a curved line, it goes down like an exponent. So but for like audio editing, these two perform roughly the same, there isn't any noticeable change. So this is how audio transitions work in Premiere Pro. Now there are a lot more effects that we can do, and these are called audio effects. If I open this folder, you'll see a lot more things. So okay, we won't go into all of them, but so one of you guys asked in yesterday's class, someone DM'd me that how to reduce the noise in the video, in the audio file. So, yeah, so in this particular video, if I play this right now,
बढ़िया, थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले, आगे कर आगे, अबे इधर जाना.
So basically I'm saying something in this, just ignore whatever I'm saying, I'm just giving this as an example. So yeah, if I drag both of these, the video and the audio, now there is the noise of the cycle.
बढ़िया.
Like basically the noise of the chain is coming in the video and some wind noise as well.
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले.
This video wasn't shot from a professional DSLR and a mic. It was shot from a phone, so the audio from the phone isn't that great. So editing an audio out of a recorded on a phone is actually not easy. So we can't perform any really good stuff. But I'm not able to search anything. I'll go to the effects and I'll search for a tool called denoise. So what denoise does is basically it tries to remove the noise in the audio file. I'll drop denoise on top of the audio file, and now if I play it,
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा,
little bit better than before. So if I come to the effects and if I press this FX button, toggle the effect on or off. Basically if I press this now, the effect isn't happening for now.
बढ़िया, थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले, आगे कर आगे, अबे.
So you guys might have noticed how the noise was coming and going because I was constantly like pressing the FX button. If I go to custom setup and I edit, okay wait, I'll just increase the length of this and this. I'll go to the starting, I'll play it and I'll press edit.
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले, आगे कर आगे, अबे इधर जाना, समझदार.
So basically now if I bring it to 89, it tries to remove as much noise as possible, but at the same time it reduces the quality of what the person is speaking. And if I bring it back to like 15, so basically in this the noise won't be reduced that great.
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले.
So you guys can see the difference what this denoise filter is doing. I'll remove this for now. I'll tell you about two more filters which are actually quite useful. So one of them is high pass and the other one is low pass. Suppose if I use low pass for now, I click on low pass and I bring it on top of this audio file.
बढ़िया, थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा.
So you can hear that there is some weirdness in this audio. What is happening over here? So if you see, there's an option called cutoff and it says 1495 hertz. So basically in like the audio range of humans is 20 to 20 kilohertz. And what low pass does is it actually passes only that amount of volume which has a frequency less than this. Now why do we need to use this? I'll set it at 2000 first. Yeah. I'll play it once, and while playing it, I've removed the effect for now.
Yeah.
And while playing the audio file, the whole thing, I'll just turn on the effect in the middle.
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाएगा, मुझे क्रॉस करो आगे ले, आगे कर आगे, अबे इधर जाना, समझदार.
It is removing any noise that is any audio or any volume that is above 200 hertz. Now, why do we need to use this? If you've seen video clips in which people are diving inside water, what happens as soon as they dive inside water, the audio changes drastically. So this is the filter that is used over there. As soon as basically the camera enters inside water, they put a low pass filter, and it sounds as if you're inside water. Basically the low pass filter tries to imitate that in some ways.
थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाइए.
If you've seen movies, a lot of the times if there's a song playing and the person goes inside water, then the song actually it starts to have a low pass filter. So basically the song sounds a little bit different when the person is inside water. So this is what low pass does. If I remove this and I put high pass is the same thing, just opposite. Like it does the same thing in an opposite manner. So if I drag high pass, now what high pass does is, if this is the kilohertz 1495, it will remove all the audio that is below this frequency. It will pass only that volume which is at a higher frequency. Suppose why should we use high pass? So when we speak, there is a lot of bass in our voice. So if we're recording an audio that we want it to sound perfect, so for that there's a lot of bass and we need to remove some part of it. So in that case, we put a high pass filter, we click on it and bring it down to 100. Now some of the deepness in my voice has been removed, yet the whole audio remains the same.
बढ़िया. थोड़ा सा स्पीड बढ़ाइए.
In this case, it won't be much evident because the video was shot in an outdoor environment. But this is what actually the high pass filter is used for, to remove the deepness of the voice so that it actually sounds a little bit better. Over here, so denoise was the latest one that we did right now, which removes the noise. Then there was high pass and low pass. So what high pass does is it passes the audio which has the frequency higher than what we said. Similarly, low pass passes the audio which has a lower frequency than what we've said. So now the pen tool can be used for a lot of things, but you don't necessarily have to use it because, like as I said, there are multiple ways to perform every activity in this software. So if I bring these two video clips ahead, yeah, so I'll be telling some hacks and things like that make your work easier after this. So basically, if I want to first of all, I'll increase the width of this thing. I'll go to the track, this line, I'll drag it up. Now I can see a glimpse of what is happening inside this video at the starting. So if I right click on FX over here and I click on time remapping, put it to speed. So now there's a line over here. If I drag it up, then the speed of the video clip increases. Suppose I drag it up till here. Now if I play it, yeah. So basically the speed is increased. Similarly, if I drag this line down, the speed decreases. So if I drag it down, the speed is decreased. But what if I'll set it back to 100? Yeah. But what if I want that for this particular part when the dog is jumping? Suppose I want to start from here and I want that from this particular point till this particular point I want the video to be at normal speed, but after this I want the video to be slow for some duration. So for that I need to point over here. I need to make a point so that after this point I can reduce the speed of the video. So I'll press P to activate the pen tool, or I can just click on the pen tool over here and I'll click at this particular point to make a marker. Now if I go ahead and suppose I want the video to be slow till this point, suppose this point, I'll click over here again. So now the pen tool has done its activity twice, once over here and once over here. So basically I'll press V to come back to selection tool. Now it has divided this one video clip into 3 parts. And now if I want to reduce the speed of this particular part, I'll just click on the line in this duration and I'll drag it down. Yeah, so I'll make it 70%. Now if I play the video, this particular, I'll make it slow And the does someone want to say something? Like
Yeah. Hey Kavya. So essentially, what we're doing, would the task with the pen tool that we're slowing a part of the video down, if we do it with the razor, would it like be the same thing? If
Yeah,
we
it
like
will be
cut
the
that
same
video
thing,
into.
but I'm going to show you something else right now, which can't be done using the razor tool. And then like basically that is you divide the video clips into multiple clips and then
Yeah.
adjust the speed of different ones, right? That happens using the razor tool. I'll show you guys something over here that can't be done in that way. Okay? So
Alright,
just
thank
give me a bit time. Suppose if I reduce the speed of this part to 50%. Now if I play the video, so now you can see the change. I can reduce a little bit more so that it is more evident. Yeah, so now what's happening over here is basically till this point it's at 40% speed, but after that I'll just check, it's at 110% speed. So basically till this particular, I'll zoom in a little bit, till this point it is 40%, and then all of a sudden it goes to 110%. So basically the change is actually visible. If I play it over here in the video, yeah, it can be seen in the video that the speed of the video clip had actually been increased all of a sudden. How to stop that? We can actually, using this particular tool, we can actually make this increase in speed gradual. How do we do that? So we use the pen tool to divide, and there are actually two pointers over here, one on the right side of this line and one on the left side. So if I click on the left side, hold it and I drag it. Okay, I clicked on the right side by accident. Yeah, I click on the left side and I drag it. Now basically what is happening is it made the line, if you can see it clearly in the video, the line is straight, then it tilts upward, then again it's straight. So now the change is gradual. I'll drag it a little bit more to increase the time of the change. So till this particular time the speed is 40%, and at this particular time the speed is 110%, and during this duration it is changing from 40 to 110 gradually. Now if I play it, I can increase the time a little bit more so that it becomes more smooth. Now if I play it, it isn't that evident as before. So this is what you can't do with the razor tool and then individually increasing or decreasing the speed of the video clips. And then there is one more thing. If in the middle of this line this white bar above, you click on that once, now you'll see that there is some kind of a thing in between. I don't know if that's visible in screen sharing or not, because this is a bit small, but if you see, there is something in between. It's a square and it has two dots, one up and one down. So if I click on dot above and I tilt it towards the front, so what it does is basically, if just have a look at my video for now. So have a look at my video. Right now it is something like this, going diagonally up. What it will do is it will make it a curve, something like this. If you could like see clearly, it instead of like going like this straight up, it will gradually increase and gradually make it constant. And someone asked, how do I know if it's 40 or 110? Basically, if I if I click on this one and I increase it, so now it says 50% over, if you can read it. So I brought it down to 40 and I remembered that it was 40. Similarly in this particular part, if I increase it shows, if I decrease it shows. As soon as I leave the clip, the hold, it disappears. But yeah, like I had it in mind that this was 40 and this was 110. So basically, yeah, this is how you perform the diagonal. You just, like, I'll show it in the front one again. There is a separation over here and there are two pointers, one at the back and one at the front. I'll click on one of them and I'll just drag them in front. So it automatically makes the diagonal in between. I'll reduce the size of this and I'll zoom out. So now might have encountered, or you will actually, if you continue to edit, you might encounter problems in which basically, suppose at this particular point when there is this cut, and suppose that there are a lot of more like tracks in front of this, and you need to, like, from this cut you need to select all of the tracks in front and then you need to shift them in front. So the manual way to do it is click and hold and then drag and select everything like this, then click on this and drag it in front. So basically it's not necessary that you select everything like this, and you can miss something which can actually destroy the whole project. So a better way to do that is just press A. A is actually selecting all. So if you come over here, the track select forward tool, that's really complicated. Just like remember it as all. So basically it's at A right now. If I click now, it actually selects everything in front of this point. If I press shift A, so now it's actually track back one. So if I click at this particular point, it will select all the tracks behind this point. Now I can, if I press A again, I select this, I'll press V to go to the selection tool. I can drag this front or back easily. So basically selecting everything after or before becomes really easy in this. Now there's another small thing you can do is basically, suppose I want to select all the video clips over here, these 3 video clips, but not the audio. So while I press shift A, it becomes the track select backward tool, and now I'll just press and hold shift. So in that case, it will only select all the files in this particular track. So if I click over here, it will select everything in this track. Similarly, if I hold shift now, it will select everything in this track. If I do it over here on the above track, there is nothing, so it selects nothing. So this is a small trick you can use to select everything, and it saves a lot of time.